Hey guys, what is going on? It's RC Knockout and I'm back with another video. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Nolan, and in today's video I am going to be doing some upgrades to my Traxxas Summit. So this is kind of an upgrade slash repair video because if you've been following along with this build, I converted my Traxxas Summit 110 scale over to brushless. And the last video I put out with this machine, I was doing the very first bash. So the very first real world test with it, and I broke it on 4S, which was a little bit of a bummer because I was expecting it to hold up to 4S, maybe break on 6S, but it broke on 4S. And what happened, if you didn't watch that video, is I lost rear drive. So the rear drive's completely gone. So I have a feeling that I probably stripped the rear differential. Also, I broke a drive shaft. So I'm going to be replacing the drive shafts with some upgraded ones. I'm also going to be replacing the center drive shaft with an upgraded one. And the one thing I totally forgot to order because I forgot I busted it, I just grabbed my Summit off the shelf and realized I totally forgot to order a new bumper mount. I gotta order another one of those. But yeah, so we're gonna be digging into the differentials, guys. I'm gonna show you guys exactly what I got. I'm gonna move the camera a little bit closer, first off, and then I'm gonna show you guys exactly what upgrades I got. And then I'm gonna install them for you guys. So, let's go ahead and jump right in this video. Alright guys, let me move the Summit out of the way because I want to show you guys exactly what upgrades I got. So here are the upgrades I got, guys. So for the differential gears, I went ahead and I bought these hot racing ones right here. So these were pretty expensive. They were like 45 or 50 bucks for one set. And so I obviously needed two sets. Where did I put the other one? Okay, so I got two of them. So these were, I think, about $100 for two of them, which is outrageous. There was some other options out there, but these had really good reviews. They are spiral cut. I possibly could have found a cheaper option, but I want these diffs to hold up to the brushless power, so I kind of spent a little bit more money than I probably should have on these differentials, but they better hold up. So that's what I'm doing for the diffs. If you're wondering what the part number is, it is SRVO 1029T, and that's steel helical spiral differential ring slash pinion gear set, 29 tooth 10 tooth pinion. And so got two of those. Set that aside because even though the front one's still intact and the front one still seems to be working fine, these diffs are clearly not going to hold up to brushless power, so we're going to be replacing the front one as well. Now I also bought this because I don't know if the spider gears could be the issue in the rear diff. So I went ahead and I bought the inner gears just in case if I did strip out the spider gears within the diff. I got some new ones that we can put in. And here's what you're probably waiting on. This is the drive shafts I got. Now these right here, I don't even know the brand because I kind of cheaped out. They were cheaper ones. I got them off of eBay, but I looked at them and they have collars over the pin, so it doesn't look like there's any way the pin's going to come out. And that's always what I look for in drive shafts at this point. Because I've had so many issues with my Traxxas slash drive shafts because they just have a little spring retainer that holds the pin in place. So I always try to look in the picture the best I can to see whether or not it has a collar that covers up the entire pin or if it just has a little spring clip thing, because the spring clip will give. So these ones are completely covered with a collar. These black collars right here. So I took the chance because these weren't super expensive. I want to say for the set, for two of them, I want to say it was like maybe a smidge under $30. I'll put the link down in the description, guys. I bought it from eBay, but I want to say it was around $25 to $30 just for two. And I don't remember what the center diff cost. Probably similar. So in total, I probably have like 75 bucks in drive shafts right here, which is actually relatively cheap for a Summit. But I just hope they hold together because they are some knockoff ones, but they are steel. And typically what happens isn't that the drive shaft itself breaks. It almost always breaks at the joint. So that's why I'm always looking at the joints to see how strong the joints are more than anything. So that's what I went with. And like I said, got the center one that's got the much shorter shaft that comes with it. So I guess let's go ahead and jump right in this teardown. Go ahead, replace those gears, and then get this thing back up and running. First things first, I'm gonna go ahead and take the body off. Alrighty guys, and we're gonna set the body aside. Let's just start removing stuff. So it's gonna be mainly, I would think 2 and 2.5 millimeter screws. So let me grab my 2 and my 2.5 mil and just start disassembling this. I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna remove my chassis brace, this aftermarket chassis brace. and that is just held on by a 2mm, or 2.5, sorry. It's held on by one 2.5 mil. Now the other thing I'm a little bit worried about, guys, is that before I broke my differential, I had my diff locked up. So there's still something going on, because when I push this RC, that tire quits moving. So I'm hoping this isn't a differential issue, because if it's something else within the diff, then I'm not going to be able to repair it, and I'll have to order another part. But that happens sometimes. You know, you just don't know until you actually dig into it. I'm just going to go ahead and remove the other two. These are also the ones that hold down the front shocks. So these two right here, I hope you guys can see. These two right here, these are the ones that hold down the rear shocks, the upper part, the eyelet. So just go ahead, get those off. Alright, I actually grabbed my drill so I can maybe do this a little bit faster, because it's going to be a very slow process if I have to do it all by hand. Now the chassis brace is free. I'm actually going to keep all of these together so I don't lose them. So these are the three that go with the chassis brace. Set that aside. I know we're going to have to remove the cantilevers, so I'm going to go ahead, you know what, before I do that, I'm going to go ahead and remove the bumper mount, which that's held on by, that's actually held on by 2mm. So there's two 2mm right here and here that need to be removed so we can remove this bumper mount. Kind of tricky to get to. Okay, got the second one out. Now the bumper is free. I'm going to kind of just let this dangle because we do have the wiring that goes to the rear taillights here. So I don't want to pull on anything too much. But then the other thing I'm going to want to do is I'm going to want to get the 2.5mm that are right here. I hope you guys can see. There's one right here and one right here. And that holds this whole body mount tower. Now what we're going to go ahead and do is we're going to go ahead and remove the cantilevers. I believe we have to remove the cantilevers right here. So these are 2.5 mils that hold these on. I actually don't know if those needed to come off. I might be mistaken. Those maybe didn't need to come off. I think the other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to get these out of the way. I'm going to remove the 2 mils that actually hold the push rod links for the suspension on. And there's going to be one on either side of the cantilevers. So I'm going to remove that. Got one. And we got two. And now those are free and the whole suspension just drops down. We need to remove the 2 mils right down here. So right here and here. We probably should go ahead, flip it over, and remove the skid plate first, because the skid plate actually needs to come off. And that's held on, well, this is held on. This has, I think, 4 total screws that are all 2 mil. So there's 2 here, and then there's 2 under the skid plate. So go ahead, get these ones undone. Okay, and then there's 2 more right here and here. I guess they weren't actually covered up by the skid plate, or were they? They weren't actually covered up by the skid plate. My mistake. They were on the sides. Alright. And now I've got both of those 2mm out. Set those aside. Now we can go ahead and pull the skid plate off, like such. And that'll reveal the pins right here. And I think to pull these pins out on the front part, it's going to be easier to just remove this whole skid plate, the center skid plate, which I have to remove anyway. But now I have to remove a bunch of stuff to get to it. So in order to pull this out, I mean, I can try taking out all of these 2.5 mils. So there's 2, 4, 6, 8 2.5 mils holding the skid plate on. And then we might have to remove this 2 mil right here to pry it out from underneath of this little piece of the front skid plate. So let's go ahead and do that. Got 1, 2, 3, got 4, got 5, got number 6, and then there's 2 more up at the front, 7, and there's number 8. Now, can we get this out without removing this? I'm going to remove this that's a 2 mil in here that holds the steering bell crank. I'll have to remove that anyway when I get to the front diff, just so I can hold this whole skid plate piece out from underneath of it. So remove that using the 2 mil. All right. Then just pry that up enough that I can pull this out. And now we got that off. We can go ahead and set that aside. And now we can go ahead and pull these pins. So there's 4 pins. One here, 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 and here. We're gonna go ahead and pull those out. And then I think we're also going to have to remove these 2 millimeters right here and here that hold this actual aluminum like brace plate on. Use my 2 mil. I'm fumbling all over the place, guys. These are also the ones that hold the rear push rods as well. Got 2. Now I believe I gotta be missing one. I'm missing that one. There's a 3rd one right here that was tucked right up underneath of my lighting. So that's the one that's actually holding it on. So that's a 2.5 mil that's tucked right up under there. Get that one started. Then buzz it off the rest of the way using my drill. And we got that one. This whole back portion should theoretically come off now. Okay, that all came off. With the rear bumper, we're gonna go ahead and pull this off right here. They were in the upper ones, and these are the 2 mils I believe right here that went through this, so I'm gonna go ahead and put those back. All right, now I'm gonna flip the whole thing over, guys. And I think now we're to the point where I'm gonna just go ahead and pull these pins. So there's 4 of them. 1, 2. Those ones might need a little persuasion. Number 3. And there's 4. Now I think the whole assembly... Oh, we gotta disconnect the drive shaft, the center drive shaft. Or can we access... I guess, yeah, we can actually. We can access it right here. The grub screw's right there. And I believe that's a 2 millimeter grub screw. But the whole rear assembly should pull off, I think, once I remove this grub screw. Alright, got that grub screw / pin removed. Now this is disconnected. Now is there anything else holding this? The only other thing that might be holding it, okay, yeah. We gotta disconnect the little lever right here for the, well, I guess I don't, yeah, I'm gonna go ahead and disconnect this little 2 millimeter right there that holds the lever for, that will be for the rear locking diff, I believe. Alright, so just go ahead and then grab that servo horn off. Now the whole thing should be loose. Yes. And she finally pulls away. Now we can go ahead and pull these upper ones, I believe. Got that, set that aside. And here's the other one right there. Set that one aside. So there's 1 2 mil right up in there. That's what holds the 2 halves of the bulkhead together. I also need to disconnect this, the drive shaft, which we're going to be replacing. And that's held on by a 2 mil. So just go ahead, unscrew that. I can do the other one. I'll have to do the other one too, actually, even though it broke. Yeah, these plastic ones cannot hold up to the brushless power, unfortunately. Which is to be expected, but it broke way easier than I thought, so I was kind of disappointed. You can see what happened with this drive shaft. The pin just pulled right through. It just couldn't take that brushless power, all that torque. So, like I was saying, the next thing is remove that 2 mil. I think that's the only thing that holds the 2 halves together for the bulkhead. There's a little rock caught up in there. You're going to want to clean this differential and everything up a little bit as well, just the housing. Alright guys, so theoretically this should just pull apart now. And sure enough, it did. And you can definitely tell I've taken this thing in sand. What was the first clue? Alright, so this is the housing, so we have to take this apart, which this is held together with, looks like there's 6 2 mils that hold this together. Yeah, all the sand I've driven through really cakes up into the actual screw heads, and then you can't get the hex driver in there. And it's much easier to strip it out as well. And that's number 6. So now this case should come apart. And there we go. Actually, this gear does not look stripped. So maybe something else happened, guys. The differential might not have been what stripped, unless it's the internal gears. But either way, we're replacing this. All right, we got this. Oh yeah, you know what? That reminds me, now that I got this piece, I actually have another upgrade that I set aside. I think it was those forks. Let me grab that real quick. I'll be right back with you guys. I may as well do that while we're doing this video right here. These right here, I want to say this costs about 35 bucks. This is the aluminum differential fork set. So it basically just replaces these little plastic ones. So totally forgot about those. I had those sitting aside. But since we're in here, we may as well go ahead and replace those. I'm going to go ahead and replace the diff gears. I'm probably not actually going to even show the front on camera. I'm just going to do the front one off camera because it takes so long to get into that stuff. I'm going to show you guys putting the center drive shaft on, and I'll probably show you putting one of the outers on. And that'll be the end of the video. I'll just wrap everything else up off camera. I'll also install this on camera. So I went ahead and I cleaned all of this up because this had sand all inside of like the bulkhead. Also, guys, you don't need to remove these cantilevers. So, but now that I got this basically taken apart, it looks like we're going to go ahead and pull the bearings off. So I'm going to do this one on camera, but then I'm going to do the rest of this probably off camera just because this is getting very lengthy. So here's the piece right here that pushes in, and this is what locks and unlocks the differential. So when it's locked in like that, both sides are locked together. So I can't turn this side unless this side turns too. But then when I pull this out, right there, and something does feel kind of grindy in here though, but then I can actually move them independently of one another. I wonder if the spider gears are screwed up in here, because look, now I can move it, but listen to that noise. That does not sound smooth at all. These look to be 2mm screws. There's 4 of them on top. Like I said, guys, this is kind of a messy and a time-consuming job. So it takes a while. And I know this whole thing's going to be a process. I can tell you that. This is definitely going to be a lengthy upgrade/repair video, because there's a bunch of little screws I got to undo to get to what I need to get to. Alright, and then this one comes off, this bearing. We'll go ahead and pull that one off. These are pretty long screws. Alright, and the differential gear is off. And what do you know, guys? That is what happened. Check that out in there. My spider gears are screwed up. Look at that. So I'm glad I ordered that spider gear kit, because I had kind of just a feeling that it could possibly be the spider gears. But yeah, you can see the teeth are sheared off at the top. I can see of that spider gear, and some are missing on that spider gear as well. Here's how chewed up those gears got. The little spider gears got completely chewed. And here's the replacement ones right here. So looking at this, guys, I think I might have accidentally bought the wrong kit. I mean, I didn't. It was labeled that it was for a Traxxas Summit, the differential spider gear kit. But I have these two sitting around, and I'm like, these two pieces that came in the spider gear kit, there's no way these gears are going to work with this machine, because these are the output gears that go out of the differential cup in both directions. And this one needs to be super long because of the locking diff feature. And it should also have 2 holes in it because there's a pin right in here. So there should be 2 holes in it. These are both identical sizes, and that's all it included. The only good thing is, looking at those gears, it looked like it was only the side ones that got chewed up. So the top and the bottom one that these are connected to seem to still be in pretty good shape, so I feel okay about reusing them. Yeah, so it claims this is for a Revo/T-Max, E-Revo/E-Max, X01 /4x4 Stampede 4x4 Rally, and then it's the same directions on the back. Nowhere does it say it's for the Summit, but I remember in the listing I ordered one for a Traxxas Summit, so whoever I bought this from, thanks for sending me the wrong one. Alright guys, so I am back, and in typical fashion, things did not go as planned. It's actually many days later after filming those initial clips that you just saw. And I ran into an issue because I was putting that differential together, and I got it all put back together. I bought this kit right here, which is 5382X. And in the listing, it says it's for Traxxas Summit. The issue is it only came with these little output gears right here. So the thing is, with the Traxxas Summit, you need one of these right here, because this has the locking diff feature on it. So this is obviously for like the E-Revo E Max, because there's no, it needs to have a much longer like output shaft with 2 holes in it actually, and it didn't have that. But I was looking at the ones that got screwed up, and I thought that it was just these side spider gears that got messed up, because these are the ones that really got chewed up, these ones that were at the side, but it still looked like the upper and bottom one were still in decent shape. So I thought, okay, I can reuse them, and put it all back together. Thought I could reuse them, but then when I'm turning this diff, it does not sound good. There's clearly something going on within there. I loosened it back up. I had it tightened all the way down, loosened the screws up because I thought I was going to take it back apart. So it just did not go smoothly after I reinstalled it, got it all back together. So I'm like, okay, I'm not shoving this differential back in. I ordered this piece right here, but actually I decided to all together, I found these for a fairly decent deal. I just bought whole new differentials, guys. So I'm still gonna open it up. I'm gonna have to get the gear out of this one, that hot racing gear. I'm gonna put it into this one that's brand new, because these ones are gonna be smooth. Because it's such a difficult, I shouldn't say difficult, but such an invasive job that it requires a lot of screws to be removed to get into these differentials on the Summit, that it's not worth putting some crummy diff back in and have to just take it back out. Now this one's smooth. So we shouldn't have any issues with this one. So basically what I'm going to do is I'm just going to swap it out. But anyway, so I'll be back with you guys once I get all that swapped over. Alrighty guys, I've got that new hot racing gear in. The only thing I'm going to do, and I'm going to show you guys, but it's not difficult at all. I'm going to switch out the stock plastic little shift fork. This is a shifter fork for the locking diff, by the way. So basically it slides, this piece right here is on a pin, but it slides this in. So right now it's open. I'll just show you. It just goes on like that. And the only thing we need off this is we'll need the screw and that little bearing. So let me grab the bearing first. Put the bearing on. Alright, and there's a little notch where it slides into. So the bottom piece, there's a little notch in the plastic down in there. So it kind of just sits right in there. And basically this shifts it like this. So when the servo moves, it basically pulls this in and out. And this has teeth on it that basically go into another set of teeth that then lock it up. So right there, unlocked. And then I just need the cover. Put one shim back behind this differential to push it a little bit closer to the pinion. But then the two halves can just go together. Alrighty guys, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and try to put that center drive shaft together, because it's going to be much easier to put the center drive shaft together now than it will be later. Got some orange thread lock, a little bit of a snug fit. Then I'm going to grab this, put a thread lock on. Actually, I'm going to put a fair amount because I don't want those coming out. And this is a 2mm. Alright guys, and that is now on. You know what, the other thing I may as well do while the differential's out, let's go ahead and attach the new drive shafts. So the new outer shafts, it's easier to access this right here. Go ahead and get that tightened down. Alright, got that one on. Got them both on. Got the center one on. Here's the 2mm right here that then goes through right here. Right, and then just tighten that back up. Alright, now the two halves are back together, so now the diff is back in place. And I want to get everything with the shocks and everything. I actually tightened down the collars on the shocks, guys, quite a bit. Because it's much easier to tighten down the collars with these shocks off the car. So they're quite a bit stiffer where I can't even really push them by hand very easily. They're about 2/3 of the way pressed down now. And where did I put the other end of that? Okay, here's the end piece. I'm just going to go ahead and put that on now so I don't forget. I could see myself putting this all together and then totally forgetting to put the other piece of the center drive shaft on, slap it all together. Well, I would still have to put the skid plate on, so I would hope that I wouldn't forget. So I'm just going to go ahead, put some thread lock on this. Not sure if you guys can see what I'm doing, but basically just tighten down the drive shaft. Grub screw. Now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead. It is going to be kind of tricky to get this on. Connect the center drive shaft. That slides together like that. Alright, and let's see. We could go ahead and just attach the I might want to just attach the shocks now, because if I attach the shocks now, the shocks are actually holding, they hold part of that bulkhead together. There. Alright. At least the shocks seem to be stiffer. I'd say they're quite a bit stiffer now than they were. I have to go ahead and get this little shifting, the servo horn off, and put this new aluminum one on that comes with this hot racing kit. Okay, they're labeled front and rear. So here's the rear one, right here, guys. Rear. And I'm going to slide this a little bit closer so you guys can see, but I'm just going to swap it out for this one. Easy enough. And now what we have to figure out is these drive shafts, because I remember these drive shafts were difficult. I mean difficult to get in here, these stock ones, into these new hubs. So I'm gonna have to get these ones out and somehow get these ones pushed in. This right here, by the way, is the only good thing that came from my Arma Crate EXP is that wheel wrench. It's the only thing that works. I'm probably hurting the Arma fanboys right now. Alright, got the wheel off. Now I have to go ahead, get this 2mm here. This is the one that holds the wheel hex on. Pull that one out, pull the wheel hex off, and now let's try to push this back. Okay, that came out pretty freaking easy. I swear, these went in super difficult. Alright, and then these, of course, keep on coming unsnapped. These little boot pieces, they never hold in place, seems like. See if this goes like this. Got that like that. And then it's a super long one right here. Go like this, and I'm pretty sure it was in the top one. I'll go ahead and put the wheel hex back on. Now we have to get the back portion together, which requires this piece. Alright. And then these 2mm right here are actually also the ones that hold the back push rods in place, because they go right back behind this little plate and screw in. Because a lot of this is very similar to my mini E-Revo design, which I'm not fond of this design though. Also, if you guys are enjoying this video, please go ahead and leave it a thumbs up. I'd really appreciate it. That's really the only thing that kind of motivates me to even make videos like this, because these videos take so long and it doesn't seem like anybody wants to watch it most of the time, so I feel like I don't have fun making them, to be honest. The repair videos, they take a long time. There's a lot of editing involved, and it's just not fun. And I don't think most people probably like it, but I really don't like it. But I do it for you guys, because trying to show you guys the whole process of behind the scenes a little bit. Not the entire process, but kind of what goes on. And that's sometimes hard to do, because there's sometimes when I just don't have the time or the energy to set up the camera and do all the camera stuff. Alright, so now the back portion needs to go on, so I believe, and did I put this all in the right order? Yeah, these ones capture the pin, I forgot about that. So this one's going to slide in. This is also how this is going to hook back up. Okay, I'm starting to remember now. It's starting to come together. Alright, so I think it's these three right here that probably go. These three I think are all the three that hold this bit on. So when you slide that in, there's a 2.5mm that goes there. the 2.5 mil that goes on this side, and there's another one that's hidden. So it's actually hidden up underneath of the chassis brace, which, crap. How do I get to that? I have my chassis brace over it. I might have to loosen these ones up right here. Yeah, I'm going to have to loosen these ones up a smidge so I can lift up on that chassis brace enough to get that one tightened down. Right, got that pretty well tightened. That's a 2.5. So I'll go ahead and tighten that down. Actually, I should also get these ones that are down on the sides as well right now. See, it just seems like a lot of screws to get into the bulkhead. Like, I feel like I've been working on this probably at least 20 minutes, just 20-30 minutes trying to get it all back together properly and get everything lined up. That's why these designs I don't like. I love the truck. I don't love the way they have the differential set up. If they could, and obviously they're not going to redo it now. It's a proven design, I guess. But if they made a 2.0 Summit, I'd buy it for sure. And hopefully it would be good, because hopefully they'd put a lot of time and effort into making one. But yeah, that'd be awesome if they came out with a brushless Summit. I know they had a brushless Summit for the 1/16 scale. That was never an option for the 110, because the 110 had the locking diff features and everything. I don't believe the 1/16 was kind of just is just like the E-Revo. I think the 1/16 scale, it did not have diff locks, I don't believe. If you have a 1/16 Traxxas Summit, let me know in the comments down below if that's the case, because I'm pretty sure that's how it is. Right. Now the last thing should just be, okay, this is what those ones were for. They were for the, these long ones are for the rear bumper mount, which is broken, by the way. My rear bumper is broken. Alright guys, I think I'm going to end the video here. So it's all back together now. Got the shocks, everything hooked up, and next video you're going to see me test out this diff. I do have to put the rear, I guess I still have to put the rear skid plate and stuff on, but I'm going to do that off camera. And then I'm going to take apart the front and swap out the diff for this differential gear in the front diff. And then next video I'm going to test it for you guys. So thank you so much for watching. Hit that like button, subscribe if you're not subscribed, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video. Later.